When a child goes missing, there seems to be an almost tangible feeling of distress in the air. To me, it is almost unimaginable to know not only young adults and the elderly go missing in our state and national parks across North America. I had the idea to look into these cases revolving around children after I covered the case of Bryce Herda in the Washington Disappearances video. The mass number of missing children will blow your mind. Today, I am only covering but a handful of unsolved cases of children missing in our state and national parks, but I encourage you all to research more into these cases if you have the extra time. Number 1. Nyleen K Marshall, Helena National Forest. Montana is a fairly big state that is home to the Elkhorn Mountains, surrounded by the dense Helena National Forest. On June 25, 1983, Nyleen Marshall and her family were having a nice family picnic in the Helena National Forest. Nyleen was playing with other children around the picnic area, but at around 4 p.m., Nyleen was nowhere to be found. Family and friends searched the area up and down to no avail. Friends said they last seen Nyleen sitting alone by Maupine Creek, which was known to have a few beaver dams. Again, family and friends searched the area, leaving no stone unturned, with no clues or indication of Nyleen's whereabouts. Authorities questioned Nyleen's family about the strange disappearance. After interviewing the entire family, investigators did see Nyleen's stepfather as a potential person of interest. Unfortunately, it was reported that Nyleen's mother had died in Mexico around 1995. Allegedly, she was killed via sexual assault. To make this case even more dark and twisted, an unknown man wearing a jogging suit was reported to be seen in the area shortly after Nyleen went missing. It is alleged, now take this with a grain of salt, that this man told Nyleen to follow the shadow. It's not known if this has any real relevance to the case or not, but is definitely an odd detail worth mentioning. Sometime around November of 1985, an anonymous caller called in to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children on multiple occasions, saying that he was the one who had abducted Nyleen. Apparently, police were able to track the calls to various phone booths in the Edgerton, Wisconsin area, but after identifying the location of the calls, the police seemed to drop the case and the calls ceased. Fast forward to January 1986, another anonymous person submits a typewritten letter saying he abducted a little girl named Kay, which is Nyleen's middle name. He mentioned he picked her up on a road in Elkhorn Park between Helena and Boulder, Montana, and had decided to take her home with him. The letter was mailed from Madison, Wisconsin, which is only about 30 miles northwest of Edgerton. The anonymous person also detailed parts of Nyleen's case that weren't public. Within this letter, he went on to explain he made a substantial income, worked from home, and took great care of Kay. He even homeschooled her and took her on various trips all over the country. He said he loved the child and she was happy, and that although he knew her family was missing her, he could not let her go. After this letter, though, no one has ever heard from this anonymous man again. Nyleen has never been found either. What makes this case so odd is that no one actually knows who the anonymous man was and if he ever had anything to do with Nyleen's disappearance at all. He did have a few details most people shouldn't know, but there just seems to be too many inconsistencies in location, timeline, and testimony. It could very well be possible that Nyleen simply wandered away from her family and fell victim to the unforgiving wilderness. Maybe we'll never know what happened to Nyleen Marshall. Hopefully, though, she is at peace, wherever she is. Number 2. Kurt Ronald Newton, Chain of Ponds Park. Kurt Newton was just 4 years old at the time of his strange disappearance. In September 1975, Kurt and his family were visiting the Natanis Point campground in the Chains of Ponds Park area in Maine. Kurt was accompanied by his parents, older sister, and 3 other families also from his hometown of Manchester, Maine. Kurt was last seen playing with his tricycle near his family's campsite when he suddenly disappeared somewhere between the times of 10 and 10:30 a.m. Kurt's family immediately went into worry mode, as Kurt was rather shy and didn't wander off from his mother too often. He also has no history of running off by himself either. An extensive search was conducted, in which they found his tricycle at a dump site 0.8 of a mile from his family's campsite. With the discovery of the tricycle, panic definitely set in. The woods were searched with bloodhounds and multiple military-grade helicopters. It is described as the largest search in Maine's history. Even with all these resources though, no sign of Kurt Newton was found. Police thought that he may have become confused while trying to find his way back to the campsite and went in the wrong direction, possibly making himself even more lost in the process. Making things even worse, temperatures in the area dropped below freezing that same night Kurt went missing. Surviving that harsh weather without any of the right gear and equipment would prove fatal for a 4-year-old. Kurt's parents, however, believe in something a bit different from the police's thoughts. They believe Kurt was abducted by someone who took him across the Canadian border, which is only around 6 miles away from their campsite, so it is plausible. Years and years went by, and Kurt's family sent out thousands of posters with his picture to school districts all over the United States and Canada in hopes that if he was abducted, someone would recognize him. Plenty of sightings were reported, but, sadly, none of them have ever led investigators to any answers. Kurt Newton, until this day, has never been found and is considered another lost soul to the forest. Number 3. Dennis Lloyd Martin, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Dennis and his father were visiting the Great Smoky Mountains National Park with his grandfather, older brother, and 2 cousins on June 14, 1969. Dennis and his family lived in Knoxville, Tennessee at the time. Being someone who has lived in the area myself, I can tell you the hike they took from the Cades Cove area to Russell Field is a beautiful one, stretching about 10 miles. Dennis and his folks set up camp around the Spence Field area. Dennis, his older brother, and 2 cousins were playing hide-and-seek between 2 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. This would seemingly be the last time Dennis Martin would ever be seen. He was last seen hiding behind a bush in a park near the Appalachian Trail. Dennis's family reported him missing and a large-scale search for him began to take place. Over 1,400 volunteers came together to find the missing boy. This was by far the largest, most extensive search ever conducted by the park. To make a bad situation worse though, heavy rains plagued the search over the next couple of days. No evidence of Dennis was ever located. Jumping to 1985, a ginseng hunter claimed he stumbled upon what could be skeletal remains of a child in the Tremont Big Hollow. The hunter claimed to actually have seen the bones multiple times but didn't report anything for fear of being blamed. Oddly enough, when the officials checked the area the hunter claimed the remains were in, they found nothing at all. A few more facts that may help us in this case is Dennis was a special education student. He was healthy and described as being a husky boy who loved to hike and camp. He wasn't known to be fearful of new things. Dennis Martin's case, till this day, remains unsolved. Thanks for watching this video. These cases of children vanishing from state and national parks truly break my heart. These cases are even more strange than the typical ones we cover. What happened to these children? Were they abducted by anonymous people? Did their families know more than they let on? Or did they simply wander off and perish in the vast wilderness of our state and national parks? Maybe we will never know, but hopefully one day we'll be able to call all of these cases closed. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button as it helps me out a ton, and it pushes this video to more eyeballs. The more people who see this case, the better. If you're new to the swamp, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications to never miss another video, as I cover things like this almost every single day, and all things natural and supernatural. As always, be sure to comment down below which state you'd like to see me cover next in this series. These cases are just really hard to cover sometimes, especially these children's ones. So please let me know if you have any cases that are from your local area that you'd like me to cover. I'd like to help everybody get their story out there. I'll see you guys soon with another creepy video.